Hi everyone, this is Gary Wilson and welcome to tonight's live weekly webinar for the Investor Agent Training Program. Also, we have people on who've taken the flipping program and the program for buying rentals. And we have a special guest, Jody Militzer is on. She works for us on this training program. She does a lot of work behind the scenes, working with the market centers, individual students from time to time, and also executes a lot of our marketing. Okay, so we're going to have her discuss what do we actually do with Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and how to do it, and translate it into how you guys can actually use it. Okay, now before we get into that, I do have an email here from Glenn. I just read it before we had the recording on, so I'm going to reread it. So Glenn says, or asks, he just completed Module 1. What's the next immediate step? So right now, Glenn, the next thing is you have to wait for Module 2, which is going to be 7 days from the date you open Module 1. And when you get that, definitely study Module 2 because it has the calculations on there for you to learn on how do you determine what is a good rental, what is a good flip. Okay. And also follow the scripting on how do you actually, the methods of how you actually work with investors, the step-by-step instructions, okay? His next question is, what can I do today to find investors now? And that'll be coming in Module 4. That's the marketing campaigns. The ones I teach in the class in the market centers are the two most basic ones, using the workshop and using the booklet technique. So I suggest start with those. There's others you'll get in Module 4. You can use some of the other campaigns. Matter of fact, 2 weeks from now, Beverly's going to be on going over how we use Craigslist, Postlets and Craigslist to get new clients also. All right, so there's a number of methods other than what we teach in the classroom. Let's see, he's working with going to see a chiropractor. To start with, what else can I do? I would just study the material. And also in Module 1, I would exercise what's in Module 1, the school report, melissadata.com, and the Planning Commission websites. Use that information to determine what are the best areas for your investors to be investing in. Okay, that you can definitely do that. Let's see, what are a list of questions to ask potential investors? Well, you definitely want to interview every investor you come across, and you want to ask them essentially once they have some information from you, some marketing information, find out what their objectives are. Do they want to flip? Do they want to buy rentals? If they don't know, then they're probably not informed enough to be able to make that choice, because they should be able to choose one over the other. Usually there's some financial conditions. I suggest buying rentals first. That's my personal choice. But I would ask them, what do they prefer as far as their objectives go? I would also ask them in an interview style, you're going to qualify them, ask them what do they have in the way of savings, what's their credit rating, and if they have an available line of credit that they can use, okay? That's called screening and qualifying. You want to do that. But you need to find out, first off, are they going to be in the flipping game or the rental game? Okay, and they can do both, but usually they start with one over the other. Okay, his next question is ideas on how to find houses to flip besides MLS. Yep, so I suggest using the letter, Glenn, the letter technique we actually covered in detail a few weeks ago. So go to the database online, look for the database of the recorded webinars. They're cataloged by subject type, and look for that webinar. It talks about the letter and all the many uses, and we talk about how to use that to find inventory for flippers besides the MLS. Okay, and next one, his last question is, what's good criteria to know which local banks to call on for distressed assets? So if you remember, Glenn, one of the tools I gave you was the banktracker.com, and everybody got that link in the very first email you got once you sign up for the program that came out with the material that Beverly sent. In there, you can type in any bank anywhere in the USA. It doesn't work in Canada, only the US. It'll tell you how, percentage-wise, how many non-performing assets they have, i.e. how many foreclosures they have, okay? And then you'll know the banks in your area that have foreclosures. So that's the tool there. So that's in the material, and you can certainly use that. Okay, so that's Glenn's question. Let's see if we have any other questions here. Let me double check here. Okay, everything seems to be going okay. Let me go back to the questions. Somebody said, Brianna said she can't hear anything. Brianna, check the audio on your computer. The audio seems to be working here, and everybody seems to be okay. Let's see. Hi, Dorsch. How you doing, buddy? Okay. All right, guys. That's the one question we have. I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Beverly. So hang on to your seats. Let me get back here. I mean, sorry, turn things over to Jody. Excuse me, not Beverly, Jody. So hang on one second. Okay, Jody, I'm making you the presenter now. And now there you should see something on your computer. Right now it says Investor Agent Live Weekly Q&A Webinar. So that must be your screen. So you have access. As of now, Jody, you have access. Can you still hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, what's it looking like on your computer? There you go. Now I see your computer. It says the audio will begin automatically in listen-only mode. Ask questions, get expert answers, answer polls, and download content. Okay, so for everybody who's just getting on, I've just passed control over to Jody, who works for us on the Investor Agent Training Program. She's going to demonstrate how we use Twitter, how we use LinkedIn, and how we use Facebook. And so you guys can type in questions as we go through the material. We're going to go through it step by step. We're going to show you exactly what you need to know. So Jody, go ahead and let people know what you're going to do first and just walk them through what you're going to show them. And then let's go ahead and demonstrate. And then we'll wrap up after each component. Is that good?
Sure, that'll be fine.
Okay, well, welcome aboard, by the way. Thanks for doing this.
Okay, yes, thank you. And hello, everyone. And thanks for having me. And again, this is Jody Militzer, and I work with Gary. So tonight, I'm going to be going over some social media. And Gary had mentioned Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. The first thing I'm going to be going over is Twitter. For those of you who may not be real familiar with Twitter, it's a social networking tool, and it's extremely useful to feel more connected on a day-to-day life. And it's great for small and large businesses also, and it also gives you a close feel of companionship with the people on Twitter. So what we're going to do first, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to either set up an account or log into your account. For those who may not have an account, you need to go to www.twitter.com. And here we are right now. So you have two options. We can either sign up. So if you do not have a Twitter account, you can go ahead and sign up, or you can log in. So let me X out of here for 1 minute. Oops. And I need to log in, and I can't get to the point for logging in. Okay, so here we are. So you can join today, and you can enter the couple things you're going to need. You're going to need a name, an email address, and a password. And once you enter those three things, you can go ahead and you can hit sign up. So I'm going to go ahead and actually, again, log in, if I can do this. So with Gary, I always log in as Gary, so a lot of the postings you see will either be from myself or as Gary as well. And I apologize, I need to close the screen out here so I can get on to sign in, and it's not letting me do this. See where you're at, Gary, how we have the people that are just coming in? I need to move this. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to sign in. And I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to set a post up. So you can see right here, we have a picture of Gary, and this is Gary's Twitter account. So if you go over to the right-hand side, you will see the blue box with the little feather in there. That's for, on Twitter, that's where we're going to be go ahead and posting our tweets. So we need to click on the tweet, and this is very important that you click on this. and you only have 140 characters to post a tweet. So you have to be very cautious on what you're posting, whether it's pictures or whether it's links. And at times, you may have a longer series of links or words, so you have to consolidate to get to 140 words. So I already have what I'm going to do. A lot of the things that you post on social media are motivational videos, motivational quotes, current events, just pictures, anything that you feel is necessary. And at times, we usually like to post between 2 to 3 times a week. So we'll go back and forth and I'll alternate. So we'll just do current events, and then you'll see on Gary's social media pages that every now and then I will post things about Gary. I will post his schedule for the upcoming events, where his classes are going to be. For example, you'll probably be seeing in the next week, since we're almost at the end of March, you're going to see me posting his April schedule, and also some of the products that Gary has to offer. So you want to switch that up so you're not constantly always trying to, you want to change your market strategy. So again, you want to go to videos, tweets, post, just different things so we can, so it changes people's and it keeps their attention to coming back. So it's not always the same thing over and over again. So we're going to go ahead, and once we have the new tweet, I have a quote that I just picked up. And you can find this anywhere. And when I was talking to Gary before, this would be a good place for you to post properties. Gary, did you want to chime in for anything if when it comes to advertising or posting commercial properties or personal properties?
Yeah, so what I'd like to do is get my boom down. Sorry. So what I'd like to do is just take what we just did so far, Jody, and we might need to do a quick review. I want to make sure everybody had a chance to follow along. Hopefully you guys are, you should be taking notes, writing this down. And also remember that you get the recording of this webinar the very next day. But in any case, back to using Twitter. So now that you've just been shown, we've demonstrated how do you actually get on, and you set up an account, you get logged in, you post a tweet. How you apply this to what you guys are doing is, if you have inventory that you're selling, if you have a duplex or a home, that's maybe one of your flippers just remodeled and it's ready to be sold, you can create a tweet on that property. Now you can do a couple of things, and Jody, tell me if I'm off base here, but you can put a link in a Twitter post, right? So that somebody can click on that and go to a link to another web page. Is that right?
Right, but you have to stay within that 140 characters. And as you see on the screen, look at the word known is in pink. Yep. So what I need to do here, I may need to take off some space, maybe take off a period, and move this to the point where we are down in our limit of 140. So right. It can be challenging at times, so you don't want to get anything too big on here to stay within that 140. So it kind of keeps you very limited on what you can post here. Right. So as you see, I'm kind of backspacing here so we can fit everything in.
Yep. So what we could do, guys, then is, let's say you have a property that you'd like to sell. Let's just say that's an investment property. You could do a quick tweet and say, hey guys, hot off the presses, cash flow property. The numbers are verified, because obviously you always want to verify the numbers you're getting from your investors. Numbers are verified. It's an important thing to say. Click here for details, and then if you can get that in 140 characters, you might have to, basically use shorthand a little bit, but you can get that in. In any case, that's one example. And let's say you're looking for buyers. Okay, the way to do that actually is you don't use Twitter to directly drum up clients. What you do is you do it to create a community forum, and basically open up an ongoing dialogue between you and your followers. So we have one student who he's already got a couple thousand followers, and he generates referrals all over the place. I remember within the first week he's had a referral. He was in Cincinnati, and the referral had to go to Montreal. And so we gave him an investor agent student who took the class up in Montreal, and he got a referral fee out of it. Okay, there was another one from San Francisco to Hawaii. So it all came from Twitter. So basically, Twitter if you think about it from the buyer's perspective, don't go out there saying, hey, use me, use me, use me. Give them, relevant tweets relative to the world of investing, and you can drum up business. So if you do have properties, you can put them out there too. And a real big hint here, Beverly's going to show you this in 2 weeks. You can actually advertise any HUD property, a HUD listing, because HUD listings are open listings, which means there is a listing broker, but because they're open listings, any other broker can advertise that property. Okay, and we have a number of students. I used to do that all the time. We used to generate. At one point, we were generating up to 100 referrals a month just doing posting ads for HUD properties. So you can use that on Twitter also. So Jody, I just wanted to chime in and let people know, give them a couple examples of how they can apply what you're teaching them now. So if you could go ahead and continue, I'm going to check for questions, Jody, and I might have you redo what you just did and go over it again to repeat it so people, it really drills home what it is you're doing. So let me check for questions.
Sure. So once we have, like you see the box, and I just picked a motivational quote, and you had to see I had to kind of play around with it because we were too many characters over. Once I got to the point, the blue box that I'm on right now actually lights up a little bit, and that means I can go ahead and post the tweet. So I click on it, and you will see it. It says your tweet has posted, and there we go. It's the first one up here. And if you go back, you can see the different tweets that were up there. But again, Gary, I'll go ahead and repeat this. Up on the right-hand side,
well, Jody, hang on 1 second. If you look at the very next tweet, Tidwell Realty. There's a perfect example of what I'm just describing. So that's obviously within 140 characters. It's in Jeanette. And they use what's called tiny URL. So I can see that link there is from tiny URL. Right. So what you do is you can take any link that you have, even if it's a long, giant URL, and you go to a website called tiny URL, and it'll shrink it down and give you a much shorter link, like right here. Sorry, Jody. Go ahead and continue with what you were saying, Jody. I just wanted to let people know that was possible.
Yeah, so that's a perfect example, like Gary had just said, and you saw that was posted 2 hours ago. So again, I'm going to go ahead and repeat what I just discussed. So once you either log in or sign into a new account, you're going to go up to the right-hand side on this blue box, and it says tweet. So you want to click on it, and you can go ahead and post your tweet in here. And again, we must keep it within the 140 characters. So, and you like to do that anywhere between 2 to 3 times a week or every day. You know, if you want to change and you have a different listings or price reduce or something, and you can always add links to it as well. So that's the steps for Twitter.
Okay. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? So let's see. Hang on 1 second. We might hear. Okay. Russ says, on Twitter, do you need to put all of your broker info? Well, if you look at this one, not on Twitter. In fact, that's come up a lot, Russ, in the last couple of years. It's been determined that on what they call short communications like texting, you don't have to put all that stuff in a text, for example. So what will happen, Russ, is you click on this link, it'll bring up that post, and on the post, and there you should have your disclosure information. So I hope that helps. Let's see, the next one is from Glenn. How do you insert a link on post? So Jody, I think really you just copy or cut and paste, right, to put the link in there?
Yes, correct, because that's exactly what I did here. I just went on a Google website and picked motivational quotes. So usually on Twitter, it's going to be more verbiage. You need to keep it limited to, I keep saying 140. So Twitter is going to be more verbal, and you see a lot of times on, ESPN, you see the hashtag and things if you want to get a little fancy, or just, but you also have tweets, and then you have followers. So if you kind of look to the right-hand side, we kind of dressed up Gary's Twitter accounts, and there's a picture of him, and there's some followers. So you can see once you start getting into a profile that you can actually insert a picture, and if I page down, just like the one below the one we just posted, you have Tidwell Realty. Mm-hmm. That's a company back in Pittsburgh, and you can see the different in the boxes. That's basically their profile pictures.
Yep.
I'm going to see if there are any more. Like right here, there's a picture of Frank McKinney.
Yep.
So there we go.
Okay.
So you can always dress that up with the profile. But again, you need to sign in, and they always just usually ask for your name, an email address, and a password. Then you can go ahead and get yourself set up.
Okay, excellent. So let me check here. Russ says thanks. You're welcome, Russ. Okay. Okay, we're good on questions, Jody. So if you want to go ahead and jump into LinkedIn, I know we want to save a good chunk of time for Facebook. So, and obviously LinkedIn and Twitter are much more simple processes to learn and use than Facebook. So, if you want to go ahead and do that, feel free, and we'll jump into
Yep. Okay.
LinkedIn.
So the next one here is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a large social networking site. LinkedIn is very, very popular for the professional purpose, and it helps you connect with the industry world and the business world. And they actually consider it the world's largest professional network. So in order to go into LinkedIn, the same thing, you will need to, it's www.linkedin.com. So again, you will either need to get started and name, last name, email, and password, or we can just go ahead and sign in. Since we already have an account, I'm just going to go ahead and sign in. And I didn't want to get too far. That's why I kind of waited, and I apologize that I'm kind of doing this, but I wanted to show you I didn't already want to be set up with LinkedIn to give you the opportunity to see about how to get started or how to just go ahead and bypass that and just get yourself logged right in. So that's why you're kind of waiting for me to get us logged in since we already have an account. Okay, so here is the main page for LinkedIn. And I'm just going to go ahead and show you how to set a post up. So over here, you can see a partial. Let me just move this over here. You see Gary's name, and we need to page down. I'm not sure why we're having these issues. Okay, here we go.
There you go.
You can see Gary's picture, and this is his profile page. Okay, so in order to set up a post, you need to be very careful on what you do, because when I first started doing this, I was just publishing a post. We need to make sure that you get to the right selection. So you click on your name, and it will take you, and this will get you set up. So here's, again, Gary's profile. You're going to page down, and right on the post, we're going to click on Write a New Post. And you can see the last post that we've had was just on Friday. And like I said, I just did something different. We went ahead with March Madness, knowing that was a lot of information, something different, current events. If you go back to a post, I brought up Gary's, this is a personal thing for Gary, his ebooks. So I kind of changed things around. So right here, we're going to click on New Post. Let's try this again. There we go. And then it's just going to prompt us to, you have the option, you'll see once this is loading, you have the option of adding an image. Now be very careful when you add an image because you see how it says you need at least 700 to 400 pixels. There's a lot of times that I want to add some really, really neat pictures, but once I go to post it, the picture looks a little distorted or it looks kind of blurred. So you want to make sure that you have the right picture for this. You might need to change it a little bit so it fits in with those settings. So again, you want to write a heading, which is always important. So you want to do something, sometimes like today, I'll just do Tuesday's quote. And you can be creative, and if you're bringing up properties again, you might want to do reduced or new listing or, make an appointment, something that's a catchy phrase. And then right here, all we're going to do, I'm just going to copy and paste my quote that I had before. So once we are all done, I have to move this over. And we want to go, so if everything looks good, then we go to publish. So that's a pretty simple process for doing this. Any thing you want to add, Gary, to this?
Yeah, excuse me. The one thing that's people need to remember about LinkedIn is it is a professional network, and it's all about networking and sharing information and helping others. Okay, and as such, you have to really be careful. Like, you know, I used to use it to advertise properties for sale, and actually stopped doing it. Not that I had any complaints, but I realized, you know, that's not what people are getting into LinkedIn for. They're getting into LinkedIn to establish relationships with other professional people in their field or in a related field. So really what you want to do is when you see something that's relevant to your network within LinkedIn, like in the case of real estate, you know, a study just came out from, what was it, Trulia the other day, and it kind of echoed what Gary Keller was telling everybody at Family Reunion back in February, and what we knew was happening last year. First-time homebuyer market, it never took off like it did after prior recessions, and it affected the move-up market, okay, which both and also affected new construction. A lot of people are blaming the sluggish real estate recovery on new construction, but new construction is just reacting to the marketplace. In any case, the long story short is that's relevant. That's something everybody would be interested in, and you put that kind of thing out there, and it establishes you as the expert, okay? Now, you can certainly, if you publish material, like I, of course, write and publish books, you can put that kind of thing out there. You're telling them, hey, I've got this new book. You might want to read it. That's okay. I would be leery of selling properties directly. You can do that. You know, there's different groups you can form. All right, you can form your own group on LinkedIn, and if it's a group that's specifically focused on investors, then in a niche group like that, then yeah, you can say, hey, I came across this 10-unit building. You may want to take a look at it. Here it is. Let me know if you want to talk about it, and then that's okay. But I wouldn't go out there blindly advertising properties for sale to the mass. All right. So in any case, I just wanted to throw that in there. I can tell you, you're not going to get a lot of business directly from LinkedIn, although people do it. Okay, I'm not saying it can't happen, but generally speaking, you'll have much better luck using Facebook. When it comes to social media, you'll have more luck with Facebook getting business directly. LinkedIn doesn't produce like Facebook does, but it is a great area to establish expertise. All right. So I just wanted to throw that in, Jody. Jody, let me bring my panel back over and check for questions. So hang on one second. Let's see, Glenn, Russ. Okay, there's another question from Russ. Okay, Russ says, should you have a basic account, or is there a greater benefit to having a premium account? So Russ, I just had the basic account. You know, I know people who have the premium account, and I can't tell you that there's any discernible connection between having a premium account and generating more revenue. If it's out there, I'm not aware of it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Again, I know people make money using LinkedIn. You know, so I can't speak personally to that, although I have students who have done that, and not one of them has ever been able to say, hey, Gary, yeah, this paying for the premium account result in me getting X number more sales. I've never seen that, Russ. I'm not saying don't do it. Maybe check it out, and you know, based on your niche and where you are, okay, you might be able to use it to your advantage. And maybe you've got a certain niche with a certain kind of clients, like financial planners, okay. And if it works, it works. But you definitely want to check it out first before you go plunk money down. Good question, though. That's an excellent question. So, Jody, if you'd like to, we're exactly halfway into the webinar tonight, and okay. I'm thinking we should probably jump to Facebook. Do you have anything else you want to show on Twitter or LinkedIn?
Yeah, well, LinkedIn, one thing I wanted to add, okay. You will see you can send invitations to, this is going to be a little different from Facebook, because Facebook is more of people that you know on a personal personal level or friends of friends, where LinkedIn is more of a social networking on your business atmosphere. So a lot of times there's a lot of people that I'm connected to on LinkedIn that kind of has the same interest as me, that we're all in real estate, or when you go to different conferences, you know, so you'll see the different things they're doing. So it's a little different setup than Facebook and Twitter. So a lot of the people, you'll just be getting invitations and you may not know them, but if you look at their profile, for example, with being in real estate, they have, you know, they could be Keller Williams agents or just investors or something to do with real estate. So you may notice that, and again, you don't exactly know who they are, but you kind of share the same interest. So keep that in mind with LinkedIn.
Okay, good. Thank you very much for the heads up. So, okay. Let's now on Facebook, Jody, there's really a couple different components here, right, that we're going to be getting into.
Yes.
In other words, it's not just like log in and set up a post. This is a little more complex. So everybody make sure you're taking notes and also mark down the time frame that we're in. So if you want to go back and replay this webinar, which I highly encourage you to do, you can say at the 30-minute mark, we were on Facebook setting up a custom audience, something like that. And then you can fast forward or rewind to that particular segment. So make sure you write down where we are, the time frame into the webinar, and you know what part to focus it on if you want to focus it on something particular. So Jody, back to you. Thanks again very much for doing this. And this is going to be the really fun stuff here.
Right. So for Facebook right now, Gary has a personal page set up, and then he also has fan pages. So there's a difference. So his personal page has a lot of friends. So you have to request friend request on a personal page. On a fan page, you can go ahead and you invite people to like your page or follow your page. Gary has My Investment Services. He has Hampton. Let me move these. You can see on his homepage the ones that he deals with. Wind Rental Management. So there's 4 different fan pages that Gary has, but the biggest one that we follow is My Investment Services due to that's our website. That's a lot of clout that we have, and you can see. So we've done a lot to, and then at times you can tie these in with your personal page if you set them up, and again, it's your fan page. Now be very cautious if you start inviting people or sending fresh friend requests. You do not want to send 20, 30 friend requests in one day, because I was talking to a Facebook expert, and I had a couple calls with them, just trying to set up different things on our website and on our pages as well. And Facebook will monitor friend requests because it's not normal for someone to go ahead and send out 30 friend requests. It's not normal. But on the other side, for the fan pages, you can go ahead and invite and have people like that page as much as you want. So that is not monitored as much. So just be cautious if you start getting, I call them error messages, but these little pop-ups that saying, are you sure you know this person? Please confirm you know this person. So just be careful because they will monitor that, and if it gets to be excessive, they will, with no warning, they will go ahead and just shut your personal page off. So I've never been to that point, so I don't know what happens once they shut it off, if you can make a new account, but just be careful with your friend request. So right now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make a custom audience. So you see we have Gary, and then there's a home page. If you look over to the left-hand side, you see the Ads Manager. Okay, so you want to go to the Ads Manager. Click on this. Takes a little bit of time. There might be, I'm sure if we have a little bit of a lag here.
Yeah, I think there is going to be a few second lag. Like I can see it says loading Ads Manager, and now it's just,
okay.
And there we go. There's your panel. It just showed up. So.
Okay, so from here, we're going to go to Tools. Tools is in the middle of the page with the setting. You see the drop tiles. Go to Tools, and we want to go to Audiences. Click on Audiences, and this is how we're going to create a custom audience. And as we get a little further, you'll see how this all kind of makes sense. Over to the left-hand side, we're going to go again to Create Audience. and we're going down to saved because we are going to save an audience. So here we are, we're creating a saved audience. So we want to type in a name. I'm just going to type test 4.
And by the way, Jody, the reason we're showing everyone how to do a custom audience is because on Facebook, if everybody logs into their Facebook page, you'll see it right smack down the middle of the body of it is what we call the news feed. And you'll see posts from friends and relatives, and you'll see every now and then an advertisement. Anybody can put a post out there, and there's a little button that says Boost Post. We do not recommend you use that button because it's trying to cast a wide net. In other words, it's trying to just anybody that's out there. There's no filtering. So with a custom audience, you can actually create a specific audience based on demographics, social graphics, any number of criteria, where you can focus and narrow and niche down who's going to be seeing your ad. So that's why we do create a custom audience. Is that pretty much in line, Jody, with like the big why we're doing custom audiences?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you look over here to the right, you'll see 191
million.
Million people, okay? So as we do our audience, you're going to see this number change. But of course, we still want a big number, but obviously not this large, okay? So again, we're going to page down and again, think of who your audience is and who do we want to target. So the age, I'm going to just go, we'll say 25 to, we'll say 55. Okay, and again, this could just, I'm just picking something out. The gender, we want all. Now this is very important for the detailed targeting, okay? We want to type in, and you can see what I already have up here. You start typing in investors or real estate or Keller Williams or whatever you want to target, you start typing in this and you're going to get a number, okay? So for example, we have Keller Williams Realty. Okay, see 78,000 people. Now we can add more. Maybe we want to do real estate broker or agent. Okay, now we're up to 78,000. 178 and the other one is 47. So again, whoever you feel you want to target, or if there's we were even going through investors, sales agents, real estate managers, whatever you feel is necessary at that time for picking an audience, you can type it in and that will come up. Okay, so this is a very, very important part of creating an audience. Gary, is there anything you wanted to add to this for the audience? Because this is the big part of it.
Yeah, the cool thing is you can really niche it down. So for the folks on the webinar here, think about who your customers are. Let's say you're forming a niche group of retired Army. Okay, you can find people who in the Army. You can find people who are retired. You can find all kinds of stuff. Look at all that. Look at all that. See, there you go. So you can use Facebook to target and focus and niche and basically get very customized on who is your ideal audience. We call your avatar. How do you reach them? And what's your message called? It's called message market media. Your message is what you're conveying to them. Your market is who it is, the retired Army people who want to invest, for example. And the media, of course, in this case is Facebook. So but the bottom line is, look at that. There's several thousand retired Army people in Keller Williams, almost 3,000. I'm not saying you should go out to the group. I'm just giving you an example of how specialized you can get once you understand the value and how to use a custom audience within Facebook. So Jody, keep going. I just want to demonstrate how powerful this is and how they can translate what you're showing them to their particular audiences, their clients, their contacts on their CMS, the people in the area, teachers. I mean, you can get people who are into photography. You can get really niched with this stuff. So sorry to interrupt. Keep moving right along there.
And you see when I'm clicking on real estate investors, it has in the descriptions, that's who people that list their job title as real estate investors. So that's always very important. So maybe you may not want to be as detailed, or maybe just stick it with, just go real estate. So it may be a little bit broader. Or if you want to really narrow it down, like Gary had said, see, look at our number, just entering real estate alone. But we were being a little bit more specific to real estate investors or a real estate broker / agent. So just be, again, be creative with this, and exactly who do you want your target to be. And you can change this at any time or keep adding a new custom target. So once we go ahead and do that, we're going to go ahead.
And you just mentioned something very critical. You can, the first thing to do is to create your first custom audience. It might not be perfect, but you can always go back, like Jody said, guys, and modify it. You can expand it, reduce it, further customize it. Number one. Number two is you can actually create multiple custom audiences in Facebook. So let's say you have a couple niches you're working with. You can create one niche for teachers who invest, another one for photographers who invest, another one for single moms. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. But the bottom line is you can niche it down to specific cross sections of social graphics and demographics, and again, ultimately have multiple audiences for the different messages that you're conveying. One ad might be great for retired military people. Another ad might be great for what we used to call yuppies, young upwardly mobile people, or dinks, double income, no kids. There's all kinds of things you can do here. But the bottom line is you can create multiple audiences. That's what I was getting at. So, okay, Jody, go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry.
And then also, if you look up top where it says potential audience, so each time I would pick a new audience, the number would either increase or decrease. So that's very important too, to see, okay, there's a potential reach of 52,000 people. If that's not the number you're looking for and you want to go to 100,000 people, then you may want to add in down here to, like Gary said, maybe teachers. And let's just see if that number, how much that number jumped up to. Okay, so now we're at 80,000. So, okay, we think that's a fair number. And I also changed the age to 65 plus just to make it a little bit bigger. So if you feel good about that number, then we can go ahead, and it's going to be down in the corner a little bit. Here it is. We're going to go down, and you're going to create the audience. And that's how you create an audience. So again, and you can see how our test 4 just popped up. Okay. And then I just had one the other day. I just ran it as a test 2, and that was I just clicked with investors or real estate, and that was only 23,000 people. So we increased our size by adding teachers or different audience to 80,000. And then you can go ahead and do that. So again, I'll just repeat this quickly. Tools. Then you go to audience. Go back down to create audience, and we want to go saved. And there, again, you can see there are 2 other different kinds of audience, a lookalike audience or a custom audience. You can even take it a couple steps further if you want. But I was just kind of keeping it on basic for right now. Mm-hmm. We're going to hit saved. You want to pick your name. And again, it's important to, the age, and the biggest thing is your detailed target. So who exactly are you looking for? Do you want photographers? Do you want teachers? Do you want retirees? Do you want maybe people from 18 to 25, your age, so that can even make a difference, or maybe the next time go from 35 to 65. So you can change things around like that. And then just at the end, once you feel comfortable, you can see what I looked at. Real estate agent, realtor associate, licensed realtor. There's multiple things when you just type in the word real estate. Mm-hmm. Interior design, home. You can see home improvement, real estate investing, construction. So whatever you feel is necessary, and as like right here for real estate investing, you can see our number to the side. So that could help you on exactly who you want to target your audience. Or maybe you want to keep it a little slimmer. Maybe you only want to keep your number below 5,000 to see what type of response you get from that. And once you're all finished, down to the right-hand side, you can go ahead and hit create audience, and there you go. And you have another audience.
Okay, good. And by the way, on the lookalike audience, I don't know if you want to show that. I just want to explain what that is better for people. Let's say you have a group of people on Facebook that you've been working with, and it's working well for you. You're generating some commissions from that group. You can go to lookalike audience and click on that and plug in the audience that you're working with, the name of the audience. Like here's a whole bunch of them here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you can do is tell Facebook to create another audience that looks just like that, the same characteristics, same demographics, social graphics. But in this case, you expand it. You can create it. You can make it as big or as small as you want. You can say, I want 2 million people just like the 2,000 people I've been working with. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing because you don't have to recreate all the criteria. Facebook just mimics it, basically copies the criteria in a lookalike audience. It's pretty awesome stuff, you know. Um, any case, we can maybe do that another time, Jody. I figure I just wanted to let people know what that was since we mentioned it, you know.
Okay. And
So
you can see on this page, the fan page of Gary's. The one is Hampton Road Real Estate Guide, My Investment Services, Northern Virginia Real Estate, and then Gary has his personal page. So again, go to those fan pages and invite everybody you can think of. Just hit invite, and either they're going to like it or, you know, or not. But it still gives you the exposure and not as much monitoring from Facebook as they would on your personal page. So again, you want to be cautious on your friend request, and you know, it's okay to do 2 or 3 a day, but don't try to do 20 or 30 friend requests because they certainly pick up on that quickly, because that, like again, when she said that, that's not a normal thing for someone to go ahead and just start friending 20 people, 30 people in one day. So I would yeah, you can do it that way also.
okay, all right. Now let's see here. Let me check questions real quick, Jody. I think you're going to go ahead and show them how to actually put a post out there now. Is that right? Using the
Yes.
custom audience. Okay, let me check questions real quick here. Okay, let's see. It was Russ's. This is Margaret. Hey, Margaret Testa from up in Boston, Mass area. Okay, with Facebook friend requests, I've done it. Takes several hundred requests, and they don't actually shut your page. They just put your ability to send requests in a timeout for a few days. Yeah, and you're right, Margaret. I've done that before too. Back when I was doing this myself before we had Jody on board, and I didn't know. I'm out there friending everybody. Like if I would go to Salt Lake City, Utah, if I was going to teach, I'd get on there and start friending everybody ahead of time in the market centers I knew I was going to teach at. You know, and I could start giving, sending them information, letting them know a little bit about who I was and why I'm going to be there. And I got a couple warnings, like I got this question thing that I had to go through. I never got completely shut down, but I do know people who've been shut down. So, in any case, good point. Thanks, Margaret and Jody. Back to you.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just do the post. So when I do these posts, I do the same post on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook because, again, it's a different networking. It's different groups of people, although there could be duplicate people on all 3 sites, that knows Gary or follow Gary. So right now, we are on Gary Wilson's homepage. So right here, right next to his picture, you just click in the block, and I'm just going to go ahead and post what the motivational quote, and from right there, you just click on the word post. It's thinking, and here it is, just now. But I also go from Gary's personal page up here where I type in his name. I will type in the Hampton, and see that just pops right up. So I like to post on his personal page as well as all his fan pages. So again, this is one of Gary's fan pages. I'm going to click on this also. It's going to bring us to the Hampton Roads Real Estate Guide. And then we're going to go ahead and post to that as well. So I will continue doing that with all of Gary's fan pages. Once we get there. So it would be a good suggestion to do your personal page. And like I said, Gary has 3 or 4 fan pages, which is great. So again, different people see it, and then Facebook can pick and choose, what posts go to where. Just a little slow. Here we go. So here's the Hampton real estate, which is also that is connected to Gary's personal page, and you can see it has the same symbol. Go ahead, and I'm just going to go ahead and post the same thing right in this box. And this was just a copy and paste of what I did. And then you can continue doing that with whatever you want to post. And again, make sure once you put that in the box that you always hit published. If you do not hit publish and you X out or log out of that, that will never get published. So it's very important to make sure that that is part of it.
Okay. And by the way, if you look, everybody, on the page, you'll see that little block that says Boost Post. That's what I was saying earlier. Don't ever click on Boost Post and use it, because it's not a very effective or efficient use of your advertising dollars. It's going to ask you to boost it, and you got to pay a little bit of money, but there's no targeting, there's no filtering. So you're always better off doing the post and put it out there using a different mechanism. I don't know if, Jody, you're going to go into how do they actually do that, where you can select your custom audience and what your time frame is. You put it out there for 7 days, how much your budget. You're going to go into that a little bit too, or is that?
No, I'm not tonight. Yeah, because that takes a little bit more time. What
Okay.
Gary is talking about, there's a whole other area which is more of a paid publishing. And you can go ahead and set yourself to a budget and set yourself to a number of days. That's a little bit more involved, and you obviously, you have to have an account set up with a credit card connected to your home page or to your personal page. So you can go in and do that, but again, that's going to cost money. But at one point, Gary and I, we had a $10 budget, and we did it for 3 days, and we just had a link set up that took you to a free report. Now, it's when you want to do that, or at any time, you just want to kind of give someone an incentive to kind of help to make them come back, to make them feel that they're getting something worth of their while. So incentives or something free, like Gary always offers the free book or a free report, that's always an incentive, and it kind of keeps people interested and, just to see what's going to be next, what's coming out next. Now, as I was talking about inviting people to this page, you just go over here, and I'm going to invite friends to like this page. So there's going to be a list of all these friends, and if you go down, probably most of them are going to be probably already checked, but there may be a new friend that Gary might have just picked up from being in a different market center, or someone that friended him, or he may have friended somebody. Then you can go ahead and just invite them to like this fan page, or basically what it will do, it will just follow you. Like all these folks, these were all just probably from the newer classes. So you just click invite, and you see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So every couple days, you might want to go to these fan pages and see who you've been friends with.
Right.
So you might want to add up maybe a new investor or a friend of a friend, or like I said, someone friend requested you. So you go through the list, and all these people are all basically new, because I do this right here. There's someone that has liked it, and that's what it looks like. It's either an invite, or they have already agreed and they've liked it, and they pretty much follow Gary for the fan page.
Okay. And so what I want to do now is give an example of how everybody on this webinar can use this. So let's say we're here where we can put a post out there. Let's say you've got a new property you just listed, or again, you can advertise a HUD property. You can go into you can bring up a photo. You can basically upload a photo from your phone or from somewhere else on your computer. Very easy to do. Type in your verbiage. Now the hard part, or I guess the challenge with Facebook is, I don't think, Jody, you can't cut and paste actual links or URLs. Is that right? I think you actually have to type it in, the website that they want to click on. Is that right?
No, you can actually copy and paste, because I've when I go ahead and post the motivational videos, I just go up in my browser and I copy and paste that and put it in the box. Yes,
Okay.
so you can.
Good. And then so what you can do right now, guys, let's say you're building a following, and I want to have Jody, I want to have you kind of wrap all this up, like how it all ties together, how you can use Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter in conjunction with each other in unison, or in in a way that's the one ties to the other. But what I'm getting back to, what I want to get to here, is when you have something to put out here, do it as like a personal post. Say, hey guys, I just came across this new property. Check it out. Here's the link. Here's the picture. Here's some financials. Now, the one caution I will tell you is when it comes to Facebook, you don't want to be always selling. You want to basically do like a 6-to-1 ratio. So 6 posts that are more personal, informative, anything that's relevant to your audience, basically human interest type stuff. I mean, there's a couple categories of things that people are always interested in. Money's one of them. Sports is another good one. So be authentic, be genuine, keep the community going with relevant information that can be fun and exciting. And every 6th or 7th one, then you can offer something. You can offer a free home evaluation. You can offer a property that's for sale that you saw on HUD or at your own listing, or in the case of buyers, you can provide some of the files that are in a training system, like calculators, spreadsheets, rehab forms. Say, hey guys, here's a rehab form you can use when you go looking at your next flip. Do that type of stuff. Always offer something of value. Basically serve. Basically coming from contribution. And people will appreciate that. They'll remember you for it, and they'll be more likely to follow you and want to do business with you. So Jody, give me an example, or let's give everyone here an example of, like, let's say you did something on Twitter that maybe you can drive people to a special report on LinkedIn or something back to Facebook. Or what do you do when you're kind of taking people from one to the other? I know I've seen that done before, and I understand it because I'm a consumer. I see it, but what's the kind of the background, or like behind that, or what are you actually doing when you do that? When you link them all together like that.
Right. Or at times I will post something on here, and like right now we're just on Gary's personal page or his fan page, but things that I will post will drive certain posts, and Gary says, we don't want to do this all the time, but certain posts will drive people back to our website. And maybe there's something new that we're offering on the website, or something new that we're launching. So, you don't always want to give it away, and you kind of want to keep their interest. So at times they do have to click. And it's not always, don't just give it away and don't just let them read it, kind of give them a little bit of that they have to go elsewhere to try to find it and to keep their interest. So don't always give it away on just the post.
Right. Good. And you mentioned something really, really critical too. Everyone here should have your own website. If you're with a big name brokerage company, they probably give you one for free. You should, at a minimum, use the free version of LinkedIn, free version of Facebook, free version of Twitter, and you can use it. But I would not spend a lot of time on it in the beginning, and I wouldn't spend a lot of money either. First, get familiar with it, learn how it works. Just like what we showed you tonight, it's just going to get you started. And once you're familiar with it and you get some traction going, then you can start to spend a few dollars. Okay, now we have some questions here, Jody, so hang on one second.
Okay.
This is from Pat Callahan. Hey, Pat. Good to hear from you. Let's see. Trying to differentiate between personal and fan pages. Page is a personal page, and custom audience means it's a fan page for invitations. So let me repeat that, Jody, for you. So she's trying to differentiate between personal and fan pages. And then she says a page is a personal page, and a custom audience means it's a fan page for invitations. So in other words, I think what she's saying is, when you do the custom audience, would you use the custom audience to put posts out there on fan pages or personal pages? Like how would you use?
The custom audience is going to be coming from your personal page.
Okay, and then when you post something, can you post something on a fan page using that custom audience?
I don't believe so.
So you post it on, you always start with your personal page, and then like you showed us before, you go from your personal page over to your individual fan page. It's like you repost that post on your fan page.
Right, because right now I'm looking at Gary's fan page, which is Hampton Road Real Estate. You noticed on the left-hand side, there's just likes, there's invites, there's, posts that were reached, okay? When you see me go back to Gary's homepage, the most important thing that we need to find is the settings to, right here we're on the home page, see how it has the news feed, ads manager, messages.
Mm-hmm.
You will not find this ads manager on a fan page. So this is just on his personal page, if you notice. So yeah, so this is very important that you will be posting the custom audience from your personal page.
Right. So
truly, they are set up a little different, because again, you'll be sending friend requests from a personal page, but you will be inviting people to like you on a fan page. So there's a little bit of a difference.
Okay. And then Frank chimed in. Hey, Frank Bistro, good to hear from you. He's reiterating what we said earlier. When you have a long link or a long URL, you can use the website. It's called a tiny URL. We mentioned it earlier. It's tinyurl.com, and it'll give you a very short little URL from your long one. Okay. Let's see. Another one from Frank. Frank says, by fan page, do you mean a business page? And I would say, Jody, typically that is what we're talking about, right? A fan page would be your, yes. Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Well, you know what? We're a few minutes after 8, and we're pretty much caught up. Is there anything else you can think of, Jody, that might help people? I know people are they're hearing this and seeing this, a lot of them for the first time. Some of them are already using this stuff. And we we have a wide range of students, beginners to advanced people at any of the marketing campaigns. Some people have used them, some people haven't. When it comes to social media, I can tell you it can end up chewing up a lot of time, guys. I mean, I personally would rather see you focus on the basic stuff first. You're doing workshops, using Craigslist, doing the letters, doing the booklets. If you have a little bit of time each day, just start your first LinkedIn account, start your first Twitter account, and just get used to using it. Just learn how to post something. And each day you can come up with a post, and like Jody showed you, you can basically leverage that across the different platforms, the different social media platforms. Okay, you don't have to keep duplicating the effort. You can do a tweet and drive people to your LinkedIn page. And on LinkedIn, you can drive people to Facebook. And on Facebook, you can drive them to your website. I'm just giving you an example, but that's what I'm talking about. It will take up a lot of time if you allow it to, and you're not going to get the return on investment right away. It's more of a relationship builder and a credibility builder is what it amounts to. But yes, it can result in profits, and that's why we're showing it to you. You just have to use it in conjunction with your business platform, your niches, your clientele, and any other marketing campaigns you're doing. So, in any case, let me check for more questions, Jody. But Jody, is there anything else you can think of to add?
Well, if they have any questions, feel free to email me, and it's Jody, Jodi, at myinvestmentservices.com, and that's just my my work email, and I'm at the office from 9 to 3 every day, Monday through Friday.
Okay.
So, or feel free to give me a call also, and we can always, go over some things, maybe a little bit more extent or a little bit more, quaint with what their customs are, what type of audience that they're looking to target.
Okay. And everybody's got the 800 number on the material too. So, well, okay. Well, Jody, I want to thank you again for doing this. I appreciate you taking personal time out of your day. I know you got children and lots of hungry men folk in your family.
Right.
looking for dinner, So,
right.
In any case, everybody's typing in. Thank you, Jody. Thank you, Jody. Obviously, they appreciate.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And any questions? Just feel free to give me a call.
Okay.
Thanks for having me, Gary.
You're welcome. And what I'll do, everybody, I'm going to get control back from Jody, and then I'm going to turn off the recording. So thank you, everyone, for being on. Thank you for your questions and participation. We will see you. And by the way, last week I was going from Santa Monica to San Bernardino, and my GPS in the morning said an hour and a half. And when I got in my car at 2 o'clock after the class I taught that day, it said 3 hours. And I thought, I'm toast. I'm never going to get there in time. And I thought I could pull off and find a hotel. And that's why we had to reschedule it for next Thursday. There was not going to be one next week, and now we are having a webinar next Thursday, same time, 4 o'clock California, 7 o'clock Eastern. And you can do the math for the other time zones. So I apologize about that last week, but we are making it up for you next week. And we will see you all then. In the meantime, I hope you have if you're celebrating Easter, I hope you have a wonderful Easter holiday. And God bless you all, and we'll see you next week. Okay, bye-bye.